Um, I'm honored to be invited by Elite and partner with them this year to talk about a very important subject, financial aid. Right? By raise of hand, how many parents and students are entering senior year this year? A few. Okay. How many of you are coming into junior year? That's good. That's good. What about sophomore? Very good. Okay. What about freshman? Not yet. Okay. So my daughter is actually in the same category of the sophomore. She's entering the grade 10, and this is one of the reasons I take a lot of interest in understanding how the financial aid, because after all, a lot of parents have to pay for their tuition. Right? So we want to be able to find out how to navigate into financial aid and see whether there are more money that we can give the student to help them out in the college education. So a little bit about myself. I have been I've been doing the financial field for about four years, and I have a few students I helped to get financial aid in the past few years. And before that, I have about 25 years experience in the high-tech industry. I was actually Adobe director for about 8 years, and also I started up a software company and then sell it for a little profit. So I had a field of experience in the engineering field as well. I graduated from University of Waterloo with Master of Mathematics back then. So today I'm going to talk about this topic. This presentation usually takes me about 1 hour and 15 minutes, but I'm going to condense it to 45 minutes. So there's a lot of packed full information. Hopefully you can get as much as possible and plan ahead for your situation. Today I'm going to talk about, first, what is the student loan crisis today in America? And I appreciate what are the problems we are facing. And then I'm going to walk through very quickly about the financial aid process. And also give you some example that I help some students and see how you plan it so that people actually get some financial aid and how they are going to be. And then later on, if I have more time, I will also explore about saving plan. For people who have younger children, you want to save money for college, what would be the best plan for them, okay? So this is something I Googled and find out a few months ago. In 2018 alone, from 2017 to 2018, the college tuition has been increased. The public school is about 7.2%, and then the private school is about 6.4%. That's just last year, okay? And as a matter of fact, in the past 30-some years, that figure has been consistent. So I haven't seen it being slowed down in the near future. So what does that mean to be 6 or 7% increase in tuition? In the calculation is that basically if your kid is about in the 8th grade or younger, in 10 or 11 years, the tuition is going to double. That's how this inflation rate is going to be like, right? And then, so that become a big problem on the financial side of things. Student loans become a crisis today. This is the number I just grabbed, $1.7 trillion student loans outstanding today in the whole United States. Now, that's a big number. What does it compare to? What it compared to is that you look at the family credit card loan, it's about half of it. Car lease loan is probably about two-thirds of it. So it is becoming the number one consumer loan beside mortgage in America today, right? So what does it mean? It means that in average, actually, when you look at the clock, you go to Google and find the clock of student debt loan, it jumps every second. It's about 3,000 more. It's going up, it's not going down, right? And then, what it means is today, all the students who are graduating is carrying at least about $30,000 to $40,000 student loan. It's just average. I know a lot of people actually graduate from school with $100,000 alone. So it takes forever to pay it off. I have a friend actually just paid it off after 20 years after school, right? So think about it, at our age, we graduate school with zero debt. But if we start from zero, it's already tough. But nowadays, the kids, if you're not careful, they are starting negative 50, negative $100,000. So that's why the crisis there is very helpful if the parents can help the kids a little bit, right? If we can plan to help them, that would be great. And then based on, this is a scary thing, is that based on the survey, 82% of people who get the loan is actually not used for tuition. It's using for, parties and vacations. So watch out, right? A lot of people think, okay, I have planned, I know how much it costs. I'm planning for 4 years of university. That should be enough. Lo and behold, the new statistics come out is that most students does not graduate in 4 years. They actually graduate in 5 to 6 years. Why? Because people change subject. They didn't plan ahead, they didn't know what they want to do. A lot of people go into university with independent study, so they don't know what they're doing. Actually, one real example is that I have a friend who is a computer scientist, and he has a kid. About a few years ago, he was in grade 10. And then, all the families, the parents say, oh, I'm a computer scientist. Based on my gene, my kids is going to computer. Or I'm a doctor, they're going to doctor. I'm a lawyer, they're going to lawyer, right? So same thing happened to that dad. Say, hey, my kids should be going to the computer field. But then he's smart enough to get a coach, right? To help the kid to find out what they want. After the study and analysis, they find out, hey, the kids actually doesn't want to be in computer field. Actually, is not suitable in the computer field. And that's like strange. Okay, what does he want, or what's good for them? So it happens to be pharmacist. Oh, pharmacist. Okay, so he's just curious. Nobody studied pharmacist. But a few years later, roll up, the kids actually went to college to major in pharmacist. And then after freshman came back and talked to dad. Hey, dad, it's very weird. 50% of my college people actually would not return. Like 50% would drop out after first year. So that proved the point. A lot of people don't know what they do. And then they waste 1 year, just right. Think about wasting 1 year is fine, but it's wasting 1 year of tuition. So just think about that, right? So invest time to help the student to find the passion. And this kid happened to be the top 10 in his school. I mean, the likelihood of this person graduating in 4 years is very high. So that would save some money too. Okay, now let's get into what is FAFSA, okay? There's help out there. Tuition is high, but there's help out there. The federal government have a lot of aid provided to the student. Everybody kind of heard about FAFSA, right? Anybody that hasn't heard about FAFSA? Okay, FAFSA, what does FAFSA stand for? FAFSA stands for Free Application for Federal Student Aid. So what happened is that when a student going into the senior year, very quickly you'll get an ID that you are supposed to go online to make application and fill out all the information so that they can calculate whether you will be able to get any financial aid. Now, by a raise of hand, how many of you think your kids will get some sort of financial aid? Oh, really? Depressing. Okay, all of you are making really good money. So hopefully today I can bring up your mind a little bit. Sometimes, if you know the rule, you'll be able to get some money out from the financial aid. All right? So how is financial aid being applied and how is financial aid being qualified? Here's the formula. The first one you have to understand is COA, cost of attendance. This is the published rate from all universities. All you need to do is Google UC Berkeley COA. It will pop up. UC is about $35,000 a year. If you do COA Stanford, it will pop up about $65,000 to $68,000 a year. That includes the tuition, room and board, and basic expense. And that is the measurement they will look at whether you are able to afford the college. Now the second line is very important to you, and that's what I'm going to focus on. So EFC, expected family contribution. Surprise, surprise, they expect you to contribute as a family to the college tuition, right? How is it calculated? I will spend a little bit of time later on helping you to figure out what is your EFC. In this example, assume your family contribution will be $20,000 after calculating all the income and asset. So when your kid get into UC Berkeley, what does it do? Like, UC Berkeley say, hey, I need you to pay 35,000, but you can only pay 20,000. There's a shortfall of 15,000. So if your kid get admitted to the school is obliged to figure out how to give you the 15,000. So that's the financial aid. Now, how are they going to give it to you? I'll tell you later on. For the same token, a lot of people say, the private school is too expensive, I cannot afford it, and they give up in applying. You don't have to, because if you understand the financial aid formula, it's the same family that is calculated. So it's still the 20,000 that you can afford for going to Stanford, for example. If your kids get into Stanford, you have a shortfall of 45,000. Stanford will figure out how to give you the $45,000, right? So in this case, it doesn't matter which school your kids go to, you pay 20,000 and they'll figure out the rest. Now, how to apply for the FAFSA? Take note, it's a little bit weird, right? So this is actually changed 2 years ago. So how it works is, for example, if your kid, especially in the junior, most of you are junior, right? So junior college will be actually this is for senior. For senior, you're entering senior this year, September, you will have to start filing FAFSA as of October 1st, in 2 months, all right? And then how are they going to figure out what to apply for? You have to apply all the income statements and income tax return from previous year, which is 2018, right? They're only looking at 2018 tax return. So there's nothing I can do, it's already done. So for the senior people, whatever it is done, it is done. But be careful how you apply it. And then that was for the 2020 admission. Remember, you're never too late because every year you have to do the same thing. So you cannot help for the freshmen, for the senior people, it can help you to optimize your financial aid probably in the sophomore or junior year, right? So it's never too late, so learn now. And this is how you apply. There's a website that you'll be given an ID to apply for. It's all online process. Now, once you fill out the information, immediately it will generate, after you submit the information, it will generate a report called Student Aid Report. The Student Aid Report, there's one important information called EFC. When you see EFC, look at the number there. That will actually calculate exactly how much you are supposed to contribute for college. After the admission process, your kid will get an admission letter, and then the financial department of the college will also send you a award letter. The award letter will tell you, for example, previously say 15,000. Okay, here's how they're going to give you the 15,000. Now, not all 15,000 are free money. How they're going to give it to you? There are 3 types of things they can give it to you. I have some example later on to show you how it's going to give it. First, the one that you want most is the free scholarship grant because you don't have to pay that. That's the big portion you want. And then, without exception, right now, they will also include something called work study. Work study is that if you work on campus, they promise to, that you will be hired and given about $2,000 to $3,000 worth of the money if you work there, right? And then the rest of it will be a combination of different loans. Now, loans is sometimes good, sometimes bad. In this case, if they give you a lot of subsidized loan, it's good. What is subsidized loan? Subsidized loan is the loan money that you have to pay back, but however, when they give it to you, you don't have to pay any interest during the time you're studying. So at least you're getting a free interest loan for the 4 years period. Well, if you have that money, don't pay it because you can make more money outside and pay it later on, right? So if subsidized loan, get it, no doubt. Unsubsidized loan sometimes not bad either because unsubsidized loans also allow you to not pay back the interest until they start working. So although it's accumulating interest, but at least during those years, you don't have to have the cash flow problem. Right? And then of course you can get to outside and get the bank and do a private loan. But those usually the interest rate is a little bit higher and you have to pay as you go. So even though it's a loan, it's still better to get it inside the financial aid. What may be negotiable and appeal? It's rarely they will change it, but it doesn't hurt to appeal, right? A lot of people are concerned, hey, if you kind of haggle for more money, would they stop the admission? No, they won't. I'll tell you, the important thing is that when a college accepts your student, they really want them to come back. Right? Because the college has also a KPI. They need to make sure their rankings up. One of the ranking is that how many people they offer the admission and how many people actually accept the admission. So they don't really want you to let you go. So if you really need more or you have more evidence that you should be getting more, go through the appeal process as well. But that probably you need some people who are more professional in that, the language type thing to help you out. If you're interested in private college, by the way, FAFSA is for public colleges. If you're applying for private colleges, in addition to the FAFSA you have to file, you also have to file something called CSS profile. CSS profile stands for College Scholarship Service. It's a profile, means that you have to put in everything in there. There are about 300 plus private universities will be looking at this profile and determine how much money you should be able to contribute to your college. But they are kind of formula-wise, it's very similar to the FAFSA. So make sure you get a FAFSA right, because CSS profile cannot be changed if you make any mistake. FAFSA you can change every day if you find out a mistake, right? Okay, so make sure you finish FAFSA first and then do a CSS profile. Now, common mistakes. I've seen a lot of common mistakes. I still remember, the statistics say 85% will make a mistake if they do it themselves. 85, some of them are small, but I'll give you an extreme mistake like this. The kids come home and ask mom, hey, I'm applying for college now. I need to know how much our home costs or worth right now. And mom, oh, is it for college? Yeah, okay. It's $1 million. Okay, thank you, mom. You can kiss all the financial aid goodbye. Right? Because $1 million, it didn't count for what? Mortgages. That's not all money is yours, right? The other thing is that principal resident, you don't have to put it in the FAFSA. So things like that, small things like that, if you don't understand what it's asking for, if you put it wrong, I'll tell you an example. 2 years ago, I was in New York doing the same seminar. Parents and kids listen to it, and then they go home, and then after the mission, they send me a text and say, oh, I'm supposed to get EFC 0, I should be able to get everything. I say, but I only get 10,000, why is that? I say, okay, send me the application. I look at it, in 5 minutes, I said, well, you make a mistake, big one. So what is it? Well, whoever filing it is putting the parents' income into student income. Later on, you will know why that's a big difference. So, can they be appealed? Yes, but it's too late because at that point, all the money is already distributed. They can only correct it the following year. So that's a $10,000 mistake right there. All right? There's a lot of examples I've seen. And procrastination is another problem. Later on you will know that, you already know that tax return is 2 years ago. So you need to really plan ahead, at least 2 years ago, in terms of income. And the asset allocation, well, later on you know the asset will have how much property you own will actually affect the financial aid as well. So if you do it correctly, that will save a lot of things. It just happened 2 weeks ago. I was talking to a parents from Boston, and everything looks good, income is good, and she has a few restaurants she owns. And then at the end, she told me that I'm planning to sell one of the restaurants. I said, really? And then their kid is actually this is a year that matters, right? Her kid is in junior year. I say, well, hold a second. So if you sell that, is that for profit or for loss? I say, for profit. Well, too bad. That would count into income tax, and that would push the income up. That would kind of wipe out all the financial aid that possible. So plan ahead. If he should have come to me a year ago and sell that last year, nothing will happen. But this year, then they have to think about, do they want to sell it this year, or they want to wait for another 2 or 3 years after the college years is over. So these are kind of information you got to understand how to get and how to plan. If you're talking about college saving, well, at least 10 years you have to plan for it. Sometimes you don't know what you don't know. So really trying to get, I appreciate you guys that actually take the time and plan ahead. And that's the most important thing to do. Once you have knowledge from the right people, then the knowledge is power. Some example that I've done. So I'll show you what is a what letter like, right? So at Berkeley, a student getting to Berkeley with full financial aid because her dad is a mechanic making 40,000-ish a year, and she's qualified for the full financial aid. How is it given? See, look at it. This is from Berkeley, a letter of award. The COA is being calculated as such. 14,500 is from the tuition, and then 17,000 for the housing and food, and all add together about 35,000. And then this student get a grant and scholarship combination. There's 4 types, from federal, from states, and so on and so forth. 26,500. So said 26,500, you don't have to pay back. That's great. So there's still a net of 8,800 missing. So it's a combination of work study, about $3,000 you get, and about a combination of subsidized and unsubsidized loan, about 5,000. So this is a very good package for her. She really needs this, and then she'll, at the end of the college, she will have about 20,000, loans, and that's manageable, right? So yeah, this is a summary. Take a picture, and then I'll just move on.
Excuse me?
Yes?
When you say work study, do they guarantee employment for the
Yes. But of course, first come, first serve too, right? So they guarantee they would, but whether you like it or not, sometimes you might not like the work that you do, but sometimes it's nice library and stuff like that. Sometimes it's a little bit on the side. So they guarantee that will be provided, but you have to apply when you get to college. Okay, next. This is a student. This is a student that helped the family to structure it so that they get the EFC of 9,000. I'll pop up the summary slide. So it's a New York university, it's a private university, and the COA is 75,000, I believe. And then after paying 9,000, so the award letter come out to be 67,500 that they will package it. But this one is kind of weird. You look at it, it's the grant and scholarship about 33,000, about half of it, only half of it is free money. And then the work study is 3,000, and then subsidized loan is 3,500, it's not bad. And unsubsidized loan is not too bad, 2,000. But the scary thing is the last one, the plus loan, the 26,000. That plus loan is 7%, I remember, as 6.7% interest, and you have to pay as you go. Now, for this student, their parents actually have some money, so they don't really care about that. But when I look at that, I say, why do they have so big a plus loan? I'll tell you why. The same student in the next slide, same student got this financial aid. Santa Clara University accepted them. And then she got $35,000 free money, and then work study $2,500, subsidized loan $3,500, and unsubsidized loan $2,000. That's it. There's no more. That is a very good package for this student. The reason it's different is because this is early action. You know what early action? So when this student go to senior year, by November, you have a chance to apply for colleges for early action and early admission. If you apply early, they will accept you early, admit early. And this is a university that she applied in early action and get accepted early. So that's why when you can imagine all the money and all the free money will be available for the early admission people. And New York University, in the previous slide, this is general admission, which is the second round. By the time you go second round, guess what? or the free money we kind of distribute to the early admission people. So one thing I learned is that you have to really plan ahead and apply for early action as many, like at least 5 to 10, right? It's hassle, but you need to do it. Plan ahead. I have kids still, the parents, they say, yeah, I agree. The kids still refuse to do it. I had a kid last year applied for only 1, and then that got rejected. So the any chance of getting more money is not there. And actually, one of the kids actually cried in a session. She's a really good student, high GPA and stuff like that. She did not apply for any early action, and she just looked at that like, oh, I just lose a lot of free money right there, right? So parents, work with your kids, get more early action going. Okay. This year. Just came out a few months ago. A student getting into a general admission of University of Wisconsin. It is a public university. And then the EFC, they calculate is 0. So it's supposed to get all money, right? But however, the problem here is that they have a shortfall of 16,000. The university cannot get them all of the money. Why? Because they're out of state. Think about it. If you apply for out of state, you are actually paying an extra, like, $40,000, $50,000 for public school. For public school system, they don't have a lot of money. So, logically, it makes sense, right? If I have a local student, I'm going to get $35,000 or for $37,000. Why would I give you more than $37,000 as an out of state? Well, you didn't pay any state tax. So one warning is that think about what your kids want to do. I mean, if your kids want to do out of state, try to do private colleges, right? Public colleges, financially, unless that's the college they want, if you are affordable, then you move there 2 years ago, so become a local. That's the other way, right? So think about it. Plan ahead, really. I mean, what do you want to do? Out of state college, public college doesn't really work for financially, that one. All right, these are some of the testimony that I helped my parents in the past. Well, actually, it's only past 4 months. One of the things I want to highlight here is that this is the example I talked about. By that session alone, I saved that person probably about $30,000 if they were to sell that restaurant this year. All right, so act now, act early. And this is the parents, like her kid is already getting into the New York University, and then but came to me. Nonetheless, I cannot help her in this year, but the following year I can help her to save about $30,000 just by knowing what needs to be done. All right. Just go help. And you don't have to find me, but there's a lot of helps out there. So make sure you find someone who's knowledgeable to help you. Now, getting into the math type of thing. I'll do it very fast. This is the way when you learn, you can capture it and calculate your EFC before you file the FAFSA. When the FAFSA comes out with EFC, and it's a big difference from how you calculate, 99% of the chances you make a mistake and you go back to correct it. Okay, how is it calculated? It's based on the combination of parents' assets and parents' income. Right? Parent asset. Based on the properties and ownership, it will be 5.64% of what you own to be calculated as a EFC. So, but however, some are countable, some are not countable. What is not countable? Any retirement plan, it makes sense, it's for your retirement, they don't want to touch it. Life insurance, if you have any money in life insurance, is not going to touch you. You have any pension annuity, they're not going to touch you. And the primary home, well, I'm living there, don't touch my home, right? So that makes sense, it's logical. But anything else is liquid, they calculate. How many people have 529 plan for kids? Okay? Unfortunately, 529 is accountable asset. Accountable asset. Of course, investment, rental properties, they're all countable. Now, one thing I want to point out is that if you have business like LLC or C Corp, S Corp, only 40 or to 60% of the value will be countable. Alright? So a lot of time, if there are some property, even I help a lot of people who has paid off mortgages for the rental property, move it into LLC to give more protection for your property, as well as reducing the calculation of EFC. So that's one of the tips I'll give to you. Now, is 5.64 high? Or do you think it's high? You think it's low? I'll tell you what 5.64 means. When you own a property, you want to earn interest, right? Your asset, you want to earn interest. You want to earn interest. What it's saying is that if your assets is not generating more than 5.64%, you lose. Because they require 5.64 of your asset to be put into the school for the kids. That's pretty high, in my opinion. Right? Secondly, look at the income. Income is about 22 to 47%, but I ignore the 22%. But most people will be in this 47% very quickly. But what is the income? It's not all the income will be calculated inside. It's only countable available income. What does it mean? Well, they are not heartless, so you have to eat. You have to have a daily living. So it's based on your household size and stuff like that. You will have a deduction. It's about 25 to 35,000, around that range. So the first 30,000 is not counted. And then it will minus all the taxes you pay. Now a lot of people, be smart and say, hey, I want to reduce my income. Let's put a lot of donation or pay a lot more mortgage interest. Can I reduce the income? The answer is no, because AGI is before the itemized deduction. Okay. If you don't know what AGI is, go to the tax return in the 1040 in line 7 now. They changed it. Line 7 is the number you want to look at. Go back home and look at your tax return. All right. So more itemized deduction actually is a fault, because more itemized deduction, that means you pay less tax. Less tax actually get less deduction on reducing the EFC. So think about it. How much tax are you saving? What's the marginal tax rate? 25, 30? That's pretty much it. In exchange for 47%, you do the math. Right? If you're qualified for any financial aid. Another thing, you think, okay, how do you reduce the AGI? Well, if you put a lot of money in IRA, 401k, that will reduce the income, right? Yes. But in this calculation, they say, whatever you put in, put it back in for calculation. All right? No escape. It's actually double whammy, because when you reduce your taxes by putting into 401k and IRA, you pay less tax, right? More money in, less tax, less deduction. So unless company is matching and stuff like that, really think about, if you really qualify for any financial aid, think about whether you want to do, hold back on the 401k and IRA during those years. Employment allowance, this is kind of weird. If both parents are working, there's extra deduction. But most parents probably say one parent's working and the other one is not working. Then figure something else. Start a side business or something, so that you will be able to enjoy some of the deduction and so on. Well, these are all details, but we based on different family, different planning. So one of the book I want to introduce is Lower Your Tax Big Time by Sandy Botkin. And this is update every single year. Sandy Botkin is actually a retired IRS lawyer. So she knows all the legal way of taking tax deduction as an advantage, so that you can actually lower your taxes and so on and so forth, especially on the side business side of it. All right, ready? I'm jumping. Next. Student asset. It's an interactive session. How many percent you think they expect student asset to be put into school? 0? No way.
10.
10. Any higher? 10, 10, 10. Any higher? 20, 20. Any higher? 100%. Yes. I heard 100%. That's heartless. But it's 20%. 20% is it high? I think it's really high. Think about it. If a student owns something, a car or anything, they expect you to burn it out in 5 years. That means 4 years in university means you have to sell about 80% of the worth of the asset, right? Whatever you own, it's all going to the college. That's what it means, 20%. All right. So what is the asset? So it's any account that has the student title. Now a lot of people say, oh, now it's the age of it's already like 16 years old, 17 years old. The kids I want a car because I need a car in college. And then you go ahead and buy a car in his name. That's his asset. All right. Don't give them the car. So that it's your asset, 5.64 versus 20%. Same thing, all the money in the account, stuff like that, move it. I remember one of the session, the parents are very nervous, come to me saying, I just put my kid's name into my saving account. So I said, why are you doing that? And he said, well, I'm applying for a credit card for him. I said, okay, have you finished it? Yes, move his name away. Because 1/3 of the account would be calculated as his asset. Okay. Avoid assets, okay? Student income, how many percent? You think they expect student income to go in? 5%. Okay. Higher? 5? Any 10? Any 20? 20? I hear 20. 30? 100. Okay. Actually, it's not too far. 50%. It's like, okay, you're working for college now. But fortunately, the 6,300 exception, so you can make up to 6,300. It's still fine, right? So just control yourself, okay? This is actually most student doesn't have that much money in a year. Mostly it's for the parents who have business who want to reduce their tax and hire their kids to be like the employees or whatever, just give the money so that they have a lower tax. Don't give it over 6,300, okay? Just give it okay, now let's see. Oh, good. Saving plan. A lot of people talk about 529 plan. I mean, 529 has a good and bad. And then I will also this time introduce 7702 plan. Anybody have heard about 7702? No, that's good. Okay, so I have something new for you. Let's talk about 529 plan. 529 is a good plan when it's designed. It was saying there's not a lot of account you can put money in there and for free, like tax deferral and free distribution. Not a lot. Okay, this is designed for people who put in money so that when they use it for college expenses, it will be withdrawn tax-free. It's good. But however, the penalty is if you don't use it for college, when you take it out, the gain will be income taxable, plus 10% penalty because you don't use it for college. Now, what you invest in there, you can invest in mutual fund or fixed income, and depends on what you want to do, bonds and stuff like that. On the past 10 years or so, I can see 4 to 9% per year, which is not bad actually, because we really have a good stock years in the past few years. But the problem is that it also goes with the volatility of the market, right? Have 5 minutes left. Volatility of the market, right? So and also hidden, there's management fee of 1 to 2% of the assets. So at least you have to make that much money to cover the cost. This is the kind of things that if you have a 529 plan and your kids are going to college in 2008, imagine half of your asset will be gone. So those are kind of thinking you have to put in there. Can you accept that kind of risk? Now, Trump in the past few years passed a law saying basically you can use your 529 for high school, for private high school expenses tax free, which is good. If you want to get more money out of the financial aid, you might want to burn it out for the high school years for private school, right? So that you have an outlet to do that. But you already understand the FAFSA calculation. Here's what I'm showing you. If you have any chance to get financial aid, by having a 529 plan, what you are giving up is you have to have 5.64% per year for 4 years. The return of about 22% giving up. You have to make that money at least, plus the cost. So it's spread, when you spread out 10 years, if you plan to save for 10 years, it's about 2% per year spread. You have to make, plus the cost, you have to make at least 4% to break even with the financial aid money. So think about that, right? So if you can make better than that, great. Do 529. If not, there's a risk there. Let me introduce 7702 is an IRS code for saying any money that you save in a life insurance policy, they will be protected, and then basically the distribution will be tax-free. So it's very similar to 529, because 529 is also a tax-deferred and tax-free distribution. So you can use that if you have life insurance and save money, extra money in that vehicle. Now, by doing that, at least the distribution is not locked to the college. So you can, if your kids happen to have full scholarship, so you don't have to touch the money, right? 529, in that case, you probably have to take it out with penalty. In this case, you can save it for future. For example, if the kids want to do a startup or buy a home, you can use it that way. And the cost, yes, of course, there's a cost, right? Life insurance, a cost. The cost is that, unfortunately, life insurance has very front-loaded cost on the front end. So if you look at only 10 years saving in that plan, it averages about 2.5% cost. But if you spread out 15 years, it becomes lower. Right? So the cost is pretty comparable if you look at it in the long term. It doesn't affect FAFSA, right? But however, I already said it will lack of liquidity in the first 10 years. So any emergency you want to take money out from 529, you can with the 10% penalty. But in life insurance, you want to touch it in the first 10 years, too bad. You might have a really, really big penalty. So that's something to be aware of, right? Well, nowadays the life insurance have no downside risk and participate in kind of a stock market. Average will be lower, it's probably about 6 to 7%, about 6% after cost as the compound rate of return. However, it has a downside because it also capped in the rate is about 10 to 11% maximum you can earn each year. If the stock happens with 30%, yeah, you miss out on the big run. So that's something you have to adjust, whether volatility or stable. That's something that you have to figure out. And nice thing about life insurance, you know that life insurance also actually, by using 7702 for college planning, your kids actually get extra life protection and retirement income as a bonus. Example I do, if a kid start from age 1, over 18 years you save $140,000, you can turn it into the $3.3 to $6 million lifetime benefit, tax-free. But of course, life insurance has to be qualified with the help of the person. This is just saying that the difference between stock and what I talk about, the capping and going without loss and 6% kind of going up like that. In actual X number between 1997 to 2010, the blue line actually outperformed the stock line because of the stock crash in 2000 and 2008. This is my last slide. This is the example. If I have a kid who were to buy life insurance for college saving, I can do about $7,500 per year. Next 18 years, you save up to $140,000. The projection will be during the college year, you can get about $240,000 tax-free money, right? So that you already get all the money back and more, right? And then you don't have to pay anything by the retirement time when the kids get to 65 because of age and the time and the compound interest. He will actually get about $200,000 per year as a retirement for life. And also $1 million life insurance coverage with $900,000 in case of serious sickness kicked in. And then if you assume he takes the money from 65 to 90 years old for 25 years period, he will have collected about $5 million for retirement, right? And then if the kids pass away at 95, his descendant will get $1.3 million. So when you add this all up together, $135,000 investment would turn into $6 million lifetime benefit tax rate. So if you plan ahead, everything goes dandy. So there's something, you haven't heard about this kind of plan, I just want to throw out there so that you'd be aware there's something out there would be something to compare to whether you want to do a 529 or not. And in summary, stay current with relevant knowledge all the time. Like events like this is very helpful, right? And then plan early and understand how money works. Seek help. For the kids, college help. Elite is there to help. And then for financial side, find a financial coach as well. I usually offer some free, 30 minutes consultation just to understand whether you can be helped. Not everybody can be helped, right? So if you're making too much money, God bless you, great. If you're in the middle, I can usually find, see whether I can help a little bit to squeeze more money out for you, right? The best way is send me an email and subject line Elite Expo so I know that you are from this audience, okay? And then tell me your name, your kids, the age and the grade, and then tell me a little bit more about what you want to learn about, right? And then I will respond to you. If you don't feel comfortable to send me email, my assistant Fiona is here. Can take down your name and address, email address, so that we can also respond to you in the next week or so, right? So without further ado, I've run out of time already. So thank you for your listening, and hopefully that will help you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. No, if it is principal residence, they don't count. They don't count. Unless it is for private college. Some private college will look at it. They will not take the whole asset. But usually, just for simplicity, primary residence. Yeah, 3 people, 30. I think it's a range of 25 to 35,000. It depends on the household and age of the parents. The older parents are, in the higher deduction.
Your name, phone number, and
Yeah, that will affect.
email address, and also your kids' grade.
No, actually, the total asset, I think there's about 20,000. Yeah, I forgot it's 15,000, 20,000, but I can find out. Because it's just when you sit down and look at it, I can. Basically, if you want to give me all the information, I can do calculations for you.